Alright. Hi, Anxiety. Are you ready for this
Hi.
guide?
Oh, as ready as I'll ever be. I'm pretty nervous.
Well, we only have 48 questions, and it's just gonna be a chill guide, don't worry. Alright, for the
Uh,
first one, what's the best map for Geisha?
the best map, I would say Red Church and Arms, since it's pretty small in size, which will allow you to kind of make up for the lack of map pressure that Geisha has.
Mm-hmm.
And the walls are pretty thin, so you can achieve most of your dashes early and late game successfully.
Especially in Red Church.
Mhm.
There's a lot of walls, and
I guess the only trouble for Red Church is if you're starting out, you would need to learn all the dash spots first.
yeah, that's true. Alright, Zuki is asking, are there any tricks about Geisha?
mm, Geisha's mainly you watch and then you learn it. It's rather than someone tells you what to do. So I guess whenever the opportunity strikes, you can attempt to dash, but I guess one of the less known tricks is if you're max presence and a priestess portals from the second floor to the first floor, you can actually follow her while she's doing her animation instead of waiting to be
Oh,
portaled down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it surprised me the first time when I actually did
Mhm.
it. Then
So did you find
another
out about it by accident or you were watching
yeah, I actually
someone stream?
did. It
Oh,
kind of scared me during the match.
that's so cool.
Then
I didn't know
I
about it.
guess the second less known trick is even the survivors hugging the pallet.
Mhm.
If you unlock max presence, you can actually dash through. So I guess the only way you can really counter her if she has max presence is to just loop and gain distance instead of hugging the pallets constantly.
Alright, here's another one from Zuki. How do you counter the survivor that's always looking at her?
Well, early game wise, there's not much you can do besides try to pressure them by making them panic because if they constantly stare at you, they're gonna eventually run into walls, so you kind of get a free hit. But then later on, once you unlock max presence, you can try to hide behind a wall and then dash through to gain distance since the max presence dash is much more faster.
Mhm. Yeah, some gauges are patient with their dash. Like, they're just walking from the beginning.
Yeah, those are the scariest gauges in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's true. Purple Frogo is asking, how do you deal with cowboys and Sears? Sears is a hard counter against her, which is pretty brings a lot of
um,
pressure to Geisha moves. That's true.
I guess for Seer, if you can't ban him, then you might as well assess the situation. If you know that he's in a really open area and you uses his owl, it's your best option to actually hit the owl. But if he's in a hiding area, I would prefer to wait the owl out since he can't gain additional owls afterwards.
That's true.
As for Cowboy,
But do you
um
think it's time consuming though? Because the owl usually stays like 15 seconds.
yeah, it's pretty damaging, but it's kind of depending on your situation. Like if he uses owl very early in the game, um it's kind of better to just wait it out.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. For
Then
cowboy.
for Cowboy, usually if I don't find him first and then I down someone relatively quick and then I see him lurking around, I would just chase him for and down him since there's not much you can do to pressure him into missing his lassos or hitting him after we pick up the survivors.
Mhm. That's true. Rue is asking, is there a special timing to dash, or could we just spam it whenever it is available?
I wouldn't per se say like you should spam whenever it's available, since most survivors will always look at you when they notice you. So I would say like for dashing, you should save it for when you need to either gain a small amount of distance between the survivors or to dash through pallets and windows. Yeah, it's kind of like you kind of have to do that since every survivor kind of knows how to counter it now.
Mhm. Oh, Pascal is asking, is it mobile or laptop?
Personally, I use mobile. Like, I tried to use PC before, and I find myself having trouble getting the hang of it.
Wait, really? PC Geisha is easy.
I would say like the camera angles to like dash with are much more easier to like
Mhm.
get rather than mobile, since like it feels rather uncomfortable if you have like a rather high angle on mobile. But
Yeah,
like for me, like any of the dashes that you see any PC geisha use, a mobile geisha can still like do.
so there's really no difference, or there's little
Mm,
difference between the two.
there's little difference. It's just like the levels of how comfortable it is to like
I see.
get those dashes.
Mhm. What's the best persona and best trait for Geisha?
Well, I usually split it up between small maps and large maps. For small maps, I would usually go max palette breaking with
Mhm.
detention. Then the rest of the traits will depend on what the team comp is. If it's like a normal team comp, like for example, Merc, Mechanic, Prospector, then maybe Perfumer, I would go 2 points in Rage, 2 points in Berserker, and then Desperate Fight. But if it's a like a stunner team comp, I
Mhm.
would relocate 1 point of Berserk and Rage instead.
I see.
Then for large maps, I would usually go 2 in Palette Break, max Control Freak, then Detention, then relocate the rest in either Rage or Berserk.
It's a nice build. Control freak. My favorite.
Let's pressure them, of
Alright.
course.
Here's another question from the same person. How do you dash through thick walls?
Usually, I try to conserve my dash early game, especially if there's like thick walls, since like the chances of you being pulled back are way larger than like if you have your max presence dash. So I guess the answer would be like don't try to dash through thick walls early game until you have your max presence.
Oh, I see. Shironen is asking, is it recommended to use Blink as your trait? And can you give us some tips to early game?
Um Persona trait. I guess like bring teleport to make up for the lack of map pressure, since like you kind of need to like automatically get into another chase after you like chair someone for the third time. Then for early game wise, I would try my best to avoid any rescuers or anyone who can take like 2 to 3 hits, like for example Gravekeeper or
Mhm.
Seer. But like other than that, like anyone's kind of free game. It's just that the levels of like um ease that you chase someone is gonna vary between who you using chase.
I see. Yeah, Perfumer, Gravekeeper are annoying. They can take a lot of hits before you can hit them.
Yeah, I usually have trouble with them, which I usually complain to most of my friends about.
Understandable. Alright, one of my mods has 5 questions for you. Lily
Oh
is
my.
asking, do you always chase the first person you find unless survivors have a decoder on their team, like let's say mechanic or mindset? Or do you roam around the map trying to find the priority target?
Um Usually like I would rather not waste time roaming around the map trying to find that one target. It's usually like if I find someone that I deem chaseable, which means like it's not a rescuer or anyone who can like stun me constantly, then I will chase.
Alright, in your opinion, what is more valuable in Geisha's build? Berserker or Control Freak?
Generally I prefer Berserk since I the strat with me when I camp is I patrol around the map,
Mhm.
then I hit them once and then let Berserk do its thing with a fast attack recovery, then teleport back to get the second hit.
Oh, I see.
So I would generally
Which makes
bring
sense.
Berserk.
Tips on using T1 Soul Departure while camping.
Mm, the thing with Soul Departure is that it's not really reliable. So I guess the one thing I would say is try to pressure them. Like for me, when I use Soul Departure, I generally like slowly wait for the rocket chair to be around halfway before I go down because the rescuer is going to be pressured and then it's more easier to like rush and make a mistake.
Mm. I think I
Oh
got
yeah.
Threshold before like 5 seasons ago against Acacia. Yeah, which makes sense. What are the most annoying survivors for you to face?
Hmm, Cowboy, of course.
Hmm.
Then Gravekeeper, Prospector, and sometimes Seer if he's on the team.
Oh, I see. And
It's mainly
she also added
because they
Lady Tricky,
stun.
best Keisha S2.
Of course, what else is better?
Alright, moving on. Molly has a question here. Is there a special way to dash or just spam the button? I think you've answered this already.
Yeah, but to repeat, just don't spam the button.
Kao is asking how to not be bullied by survivors. That's a broad question.
Uh, I guess the sad reality is that most of the matches, Geisha will get bullied.
And Cypher Rush is still a thing for survivors.
I wish it wasn't.
Right. Apio is asking, most of the time I die as Geisha. Even if I do perfectly, what can I do differently?
The thing is that even if you down someone quick, if you don't pressure the ciphers, you will eventually find yourself tying because of cipher rush.
Hmm.
So I would say like your best bet is try to chair like close to any worked on ciphers, then patrol around the chair, trying to like chase them off the cipher. And then after you eliminate the first survivor, I would try my best not to roam around the map for too long. You should automatically try to find the second survivor to chase because I find myself tying a lot because I roam around the map too often after I eliminate the first survivor.
I see. Now here's another question from Apio. Also, how do you become patient with her second ability?
I guess it's mainly like practice and like kind of predicting the survivor's movements. Like if you know the rescuer is really patient, you'll also have to match with the same amount of patience.
Mm, it's Hannah has 9 questions for you.
Oh, nine.
Alright, for the first one, how did you guys do the trick when you get through the wall? I'm kind of confused, and I usually fail this most of the time.
I'm guessing by like what Hannah means is like when you like delay dash into the survivor. The thing is that like even if you can't physically see the survivor, there's still like a button prompt that you can press to dash through. So you can still dash through even with even if you can't physically actually see the survivor.
Yeah, which makes sense. I think I've tried that before. I've answered
Yes.
this already. What's the best map for Acacia? And there's a follow-up for this. What's the worst map for Acacia?
Usually I hate maps that are with a bunch of walls that survivors can loop with. For example, like Eversleeping, like Geisha's decent on that map, but the amount of buildings that survivors can loop with, especially Priestess, kind
Mhm.
of like doesn't make her that.
What survivor is best for countering Geisha?
Any survivor that can take hits or like gain a great distance from her, like for example, Priestess. She can stun you with her portals and get away from you relatively quick.
Mhm.
Then Perfumer with her three perfumes, if she uses it correctly, she can easily kite you for like more than 60 seconds.
Is Geisha really weak in higher tier? I want to get a patch for her, but everyone told me that she's so easy to bully.
The thing is that like she is pretty weak in high tier. Like eventually like the team comp in high tier is just like really anti-hunter, but like it's
Yeah, I know.
much more worse for Geisha.
That's why everyone's playing Bonbon. Violinist.
Oh, maybe I should go main Bonbon instead.
No, if you do that,
That's the
we're not gonna have any representative for
no. Oh yeah,
NAU.
you're right.
Alright.
Well,
What secondary skill is best for her?
if you're really like starting out with Geisha and like you don't really understand like how to counter like mind gaming survivors, I guess Peeper would be your best bet. But personally, I don't use it. I would prefer teleport for the map pressure.
Mhm. Is Geisha costume either A or S tier make her hitbox kinda better?
That really depends on the
Interesting.
person.
Alright. What are your tricks when you're face to face against a seer?
Mm, I guess like if you find this your early game, try your best to land the first hit before his owl comes back, so it won't prolong the kite any longer. But other than that, try your best to kind of like make sure like you're out of serious line of sight. Like maybe like try to hide behind walls before you dash, gain the distance.
This one is from Jack. How do you dash without getting stuck on walls and pallets? This usually happens to me also whenever I play Geisha.
Ooh, it's mainly the game's fault in my opinion. Like even if you do dash through, sometimes the game will like not count and pull you back.
So in short, it still happens to you from time to time.
Even yeah, even happens to me.
That
But I
sucks.
guess like it's mainly early game that kind of messes me up. Like max presence
Mhm.
wise, it's much more easier to not get stuck.
Yeah, the chances are less during max
hmm
presence.
It just helps that her max presence dash is much more faster.
Captain Calamari is asking, how do you deal with a good thief main?
Hmm. Oh, I don't usually meet any thief mains, so I guess like try to angle your character like away from his flashlight. And then if you have max presence, I would say like, hide behind a wall, pallet, anything, then dash. Kind of like similar to how you would like counter a seer.
Lau is asking, how do you deal with Gravekeeper?
Hmm, usually he's not really worth chasing first. So I would say like if you see him like automatically
Just
using a
ignore.
shovel, yeah, just leave him.
Which makes sense. It's like you're chasing a mercenary.
Yeah, basically, you're gonna end up just wasting too much of your time.
Mm. Hmm. Alex is asking, how do you dodge the broken hitbox if you spin around Geisha? I think he's asking, how do you juke against a Geisha main?
I see. Well, before like her hitbox got adjusted, it was much more easier to do the juke. But now like I don't think it's really worth trying now since like if a good geisha knows that you're trying to do that, they'll still hit you in the end because they understand her hitbox.
Mm, yeah, that's true. Before, when her hitbox was weird, a friend of mine told me that I should veer to the left, then that would work. Then fortunately, most of the time it works. But that was like season 4 though. Anyways, alright, here's another question for you. How do you counter a pallet camper?
Ooh, okay, so like usually I would like try to fake it out. Like I would step into a pallet for like maybe a second, then I would suddenly like push back and like also like throw a hit. Usually that would work against most of them.
What do you do when you're chasing a survivor and there's only 3 ciphers left? How do you
Um,
down the survivor fast?
like if there's like three ciphers left and the survivor is like not injured yet,
Mm-hmm.
then your best bet is to just teleport away and like hope for the best with the second chase. But if the survivor is injured or they're out of resources, then
Mm-hmm.
I would continue to chase and hopefully stuff the rescue.
Is bringing trump card recommended on her for any particular map?
Personally, I would say no, since like her main trait is teleport already. So I would prefer to have like a better chase than bring trump card and then lack the pallet destruction speed or stun recovery speed.
I see. Well, for me, I really like the fast pallet breaking speed for
Yeah, that's what I
Geisha.
miss the most if I bring trump card.
Yeah, that's the drawback with trump card, unfortunately. Are there any dash spots for Acacia that you can share us?
Hmm, the ruins in hospital, for example. If the survivors are like hugging the long wall and your soul departure is you unlocked it already, you can actually dash through if you soul departure first.
Oh,
Yeah, but
I
like
haven't encountered
that's
that.
that's kind of like a 50-50 chance. Like sometimes you might land back on the side that you were, but occasionally you might actually land next to the survivor.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, here's a good one. Does Geisha need a buff? If she does,
Yes.
what would it be? What kind of buff?
I would get rid of soul departure, like either adjust it or just completely remove it and then add something a new ability to her. Other than that, I guess I would want the game to fix the pullback that she always gets if she dashes.
Yeah, they're having a hard time with that. I've noticed that.
Yeah, but still,
Alright, Archanger is asking, I always see top caches ignoring pallets even if the survivor is really close to them. How do you know when they will just go through the pallet without trying to stun you? Or when they will try to stun you?
usually for like the first chase, I would usually ignore the first pallet since like that usually throws them like off guard since they don't really expect a geisha to disrespect the palette that much. But if I notice that the survivor is constantly throwing down the pallet, I would like actively avoid the pallet until like I know for sure that like they'll they'll like not stun me the moment I get near them.
Yeah, usually survivors are conserving the pallets in higher tier. I mean, if you
Yeah,
notice in tier 3, they usually drop the pallet so fast compared to tier 6.
that's what throws me off guard. Like if I meet elk, it's just how
Mm-hmm.
much pallets they throw down
Mm-hmm.
the first 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. There are some geishas Why are they using trump card? Is there any use in that? And what do you actually try to do if you get kited or rotated in 3 ciphers?
Mm, trump card, like I can see some uses for it, especially if they really like using excitement, blink, or peepers. I guess peepers kind of like helps you if they're looping you
Yeah, they
constantly
have
or
to
you want them.
relocate.
Yeah. Then blink, I guess it's like kind of a way to ensure that they'll be downed by 60 seconds. Then excitement can be used like when the team comps is just a bunch of harassers.
Mm.
But other than that, I don't really see much use since her dash is essentially her blink. And if your
That's true.
intuition and game sense is like good enough in your opinion, you don't really need peepers.
What's the tier of Geisha for you?
What
Is
tier?
she like A tier, B tier, or what?
Before I would have said B tier, but ever since like Griffins can like four-man VC now, I would
Mm,
say she dropped to C tier now.
that's kind of sad. I hope
I
they
know,
buff
even
Geisha.
hopefully. I mean, they did say they were going to adjust her, but they didn't
Mm.
say anything else about it.
I saw that Dream Witch is getting a buff with her hitbox.
Oh no.
Anyways, how do you counter a looping survivor escalation?
Mm, I guess the most you can do is just follow them and like try to see like how they actually play. Do they like loop constantly before hiding behind a pallet? Or do they just loop and then like transition away while you're like looping yourself essentially after the leave? Like you kind of like have to keep track of like how survivors play mostly with Geisha.
So you started playing Hunter at season 5, right?
Yeah, around.
Around season 5. This will be interesting. I know Maxi. He's a Dream Witch main.
Oh yeah, me and Maxie, we know each other.
No.
So generally, like I would usually go to factories since there's always usually someone there, and I'm kind of confident in chasing someone there.
There you go.
I missed
That
this way.
that almost hit though.
If only the
Why do you
hitbox
have
kind of
why do you
extended.
have a ping like that? That's an OP ping.
I was trying to dash through, but then like I sort of realized I could have dashed through the window instead of there.
Oh.
So it was kind of a mistake on my part.
She got a hit
Um,
from her.
okay, I noticed that she was looping, but then I saw her leave, so I continued chasing, but I don't dash yet since she's constantly looking at me. And this is kind of what I meant by like eventually they'll make a mistake. Since like I knew she wanted to get inside the pallet, so I just dashed since she wasn't looking behind.
And that was a nice normal hit. You went through the pallet.
Mm-hmm.
You're still 4 ciphers, not bad. There we go, the cipher rush begins.
Then I hit the forward since I noticed the footprints. Then from this distance, you can still teleport before they reach the chair. So
That
I
was a
managed to
nice pick,
unstuck
by the
it.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Then I'm
normally
just checking.
some hunters would do a chair hit after they teleport.
Personally, I've done that like way too many times, so I kind of got I kind of usually try to fake the first hit.
Oh. Perfumer had tightener.
That's what surprised
Die.
me because I didn't know that she actually brought it. So I was kind of hoping that she would rescue and then I could like hit the enchantress and farm her.
I have a feeling that forward was behind you. Yeah, forward was there.
See, that's the mistake. And then I saw him dash because I was checking up on him because I kind of figured he would like try to stun me while I'm near a wall.
That was a nice dash.
Oh,
Oh, cowboy.
cowboy, no.
This meta is so annoying.
Ooh, I kind of ran into her because I was constantly checking where everyone was. I accidentally pressed the locker.
Oh. I thought it's your strategy to avoid the forward.
Ooh, maybe,
Ooh,
maybe.
nice joke. Maybe. All of them are doing good, but nobody's decoding.
Yeah, that's kind of the mistake on their part. They weren't really decoding. Like, I understand if forward's like following me because he wants to keep the enchantress alive, but other than that,
So it's game over for enchantress.
yeah.
Oh, he doesn't have footwear?
Um,
Oh,
Ooh, that was
the
close.
forward nerf. I felt that. I hit it when that happens.
I teleport away, and the moment I started teleporting, I just noticed the cowboy.
Oh.
So I was kind of like... The thing about me this match was that I wasn't faking the pallets enough. I was kind of like stubborn with it. I just went through it.
This perfumer is good at looping. That's why I just play with that. They can't loop man with the cats. I think either way, that teleport was good since Cowboy and Forward have bad decoding, you know?
Yeah,
Oh, nice third.
he kind of rushed it. This is kind of game over for them at this point. And that's kind of the end of the match.
Alright, any last steps for future Geisha mates?
I guess like try your best to be patient with her because she's kind of hard to use considering how the meta is currently. I would say like she requires really like a lot of mental patience and just like try your best and don't be frustrated if you like tie or lose with her. Just try not to be greedy with Geisha.
Perfect guide anxiety. I hope everyone will learn from
Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about Geisha and interviewing me.
You're welcome. Sorry if I still sound sleepy.
No, it's fine. You should rest well and take a break.